How much does it cost to build a Knight Rider replica car? That is what I'm going to cover in today's video. This is something that I don't see hardly anybody tell you. In fact, I've not actually come across a single video where somebody explains in detail what it costs to build one of these cars. Because it was one of the things that I was looking for before I built this, before I actually purchased this car. I was looking around trying to figure out how much it was going to cost me, and there was not really hardly anything out there that explained. So in this video I'm going to go through and just explain what you can expect to pay should you want to build one of these cars. Now the first thing I am going to say is my car is almost complete. Now at the moment there's no seats in the car. I've taken the seats out. And I'm currently just tweaking the electrics. There's a few things I need to change. Also my upper console's not in yet. I've got to still put that in. So there's a few things that I still need to do in my car, but I'm about 95% complete. So this is why I wanted to make this video, because I think I'm in a good position to now explain what it's going to cost you. I bought this car in May 2019, and I'll tell you how much I paid for it at the end of the video, and I will tell you roughly what I've spent on the car so far. It's a lot of money, but I'll tell you what I've paid so far, and I'll tell you what I paid for the car at the end of the video. So make sure you watch this video to the very end. As I said, the car is almost complete. It's about 95% complete. I bought this car last May 2019. And when I bought it, it was a Trans Am. You can buy these cars in either a normal Pontiac Firebird model or the Trans Am. As far as I know, the Trans Ams do have a few differences on them. Now, the main difference being on the Trans Ams is they have a body kit. Now this one doesn't have a body kit because I've actually taken it off. That's one of the things that you need to do if you want it to be a proper replica, okay? Because the Knight Rider replica was based on a 1982 Pontiac Firebird model, yeah, and he didn't have like side skirts. He didn't have a body kit on the Knight Rider car. If you buy some of these, they will have the body kit on. And when I purchased this, although this was partly already converted into a Knight Rider car, it was pretty bad. Okay, it was like not even close to being a replica. It had the dashboard and all of that, but that was it. It didn't really have much else. But I'll get to that in just a second. But I bought this car as a Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. It had the body kit, it had some other bits and pieces on it, which means you have to go around, take off the body kit, and also change the rear bumper as well. These come with a bumper at the back, which you need to take off and put on a different bumper. So all this work you need to do before you can even think about the interior and all that. Yeah, you need a good base model of a car. Yeah, you need to make sure that whatever car you buy, if you fully intend on making it a replica, a Knight Rider replica car, you need to make sure that you have a good foundation base to work from. You don't want to buy something that's rusty and needs a lot of work doing to it mechanically and chassis. You know, you don't want any welding. You don't want to have to do any welding. You don't want to have to change all the different panels on the car because they're all rusty and stuff like that. My advice is to buy a Pontiac Firebird which is in pretty good condition already. If you do that, then you're going to save yourself a lot of work. Now I know that some people don't have the budget, you know, to go out and buy one with immaculate bodywork and immaculate interior. I understand that, but just do the best you can. You know, if you are looking to do this, find the best one you can for the money. And obviously we all have a budget, so you have to think about that as well. So So that's the first piece of advice, is try to get a good base to work from, a good car that's not falling to pieces, because that's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of messing around, and in the long run you don't want to have to go back and weld things up after all of your interior is in, like this. Yeah, like once all your door panels are on and all of your Night Rider dashboard is in, you don't want to have to go back and then change all the different panels and weld things up. It's just going to be a complete nightmare. Now, in regards to how much it's going to cost you for a base model for a decent Pontiac Firebird, it's impossible to say. I'll tell you what I paid for this, and I did pay a little bit too much for it. But you need to buy a decent car to start with, and then you can do the conversion on top of that. Next thing I'm going to cover, right, is what it's going to cost you in parts and labour and all the Night Rider electronics, the interior and all of that. There's a lot of work involved. There really is a lot of work. So do not take on one of these cars as a project if you think it's going to take you a few months to do, because it isn't. Okay, obviously the car has to be black. The car has to be black, and before you even think about spraying the car black, you need to make sure that you have the right panels on the car. If you remember what I said earlier, even though you may buy the correct Pontiac Firebird 3rd gen, which is between an 82 and a 92, even though you buy one of their models, it doesn't mean that all the panels on the car will be correct. Yeah, because you need the bonnet, yeah, the hood, as they say, as you Americans say. You need the little scoop on there, like the vent, okay, because that's the replica part of Night Rider, yeah, on the front there. You also need the Night Rider front nose. Yeah, I'll show you that. You also need the Night Rider nose, okay. That one there is based on a season 2, yeah. So you need the bonnet, you need the nose, and also you need to make sure that you have the correct rear bumper. Yeah, this is an actual 82 rear bumper. When I bought this car, this is actually a 1987 car. So there were panels on the car which I had to change in order to make it an exact replica. So I had to change the rear bumper, the front nose. You have to change on every single model anyway, between 82 and 92, because that's a proper Night Rider replica nose. And obviously none of them come like that from the factory. And you also need to do the bonnet, make sure it's got the scoop. But some models do come with that, I believe. I'm not entirely sure all the details when it comes to those hoods, okay, with the scoops. But I know that some models do come with them. So they're the things you would need to do on the bodywork. Of course, you would need to obviously spray the car as well. You need to obviously have a good paint job, yeah, spray it black. I had to get a lot of this sprayed because the bodywork was pretty bad. If you look back on my YouTube channel through different videos, you will see that I've had lots of videos and lots of pictures and that taken where I've had all of the top of the car completely, it was completely bare. Yeah, I took all the T-bar area out. Everything inside was completely gutted. So I had to do a lot of work. Yeah, and this was a pretty good base car, but I will tell you towards the end of the video what happened and how much I paid for the car and why I still purchased it. So you need to do the exterior of the car. My advice would be, don't even touch any of the interior until the outside of the car is done, and also the mechanical side of things as well. So you want to do the outside of the car and all of the mechanical repairs, or if you want to tune the engine, you want to do all of that before you touch the inside. I couldn't do it in that order. because when I bought the car, it was already partly done as a night rider car, and I wanted to use this last summer. So I was using it off and on, so I had to repair little bits and pieces and just kind of do things as I went. But if I had to do this again, I would definitely, my advice is to do the exterior of the car and do the mechanical repairs at the same time. You can do all of that at the same time, and then you move on to the interior. Now the exterior of the car, the paintwork, the mechanical side of things, you can pay up to, you know, thousands and thousands of pounds, thousands of dollars to have that work done, or you can do it yourself. Yeah, obviously if you do it yourself, there's time. I can't paint spray, so that was not really an option for me. So I had to put this car into the garage, and I had to pay for it to get done. So, you know, if you're good at like spraying cars, if you're good at that kind of stuff, then that might be something that you can do, but that wasn't something I could do. So moving on, once the exterior of the car is done and it's all sprayed and the mechanical side of things is all tip top and everything is good, again, I spent a fair bit of money. I think on repairs, I spent around £1,000, over £1,000 just on repairs. I had to get a new battery, I had to get some brake cylinders, I had to, I think there were some brake pipes I had to change, a vacuum pump in the engine. There were some other leads and cables and stuff in the engine bay that I had to change. So anyway, moving on. The next stage that you need to think about is all the interior. Okay. Oh, one thing I will mention is the nose. These night rider noses that you need for these cars when you do the build, you can buy them from various places around the world. There's some in Europe, some in America. People do them and they make them specifically for the night rider build, so you can buy them. When I bought my front nose, it cost me around 700 UK pounds. Yeah, which is $850–900. It's probably about $1,000. So that's what I paid for my front nose. Nothing is really that cheap whenever it comes to these builds. It really isn't. So bear in mind that you're not going to be able to build these cars for dirt cheap. It is going to cost you some money at some stage. So moving on to the interior. The interior was a real bugger. There's lots of things you need to know about the interior of these cars. When I bought this car, this was, as I said, a 1987. So it came with different door panels. It came with completely different center console. The whole carpet was grey. I had different seats. Everything in the car on the inside was completely different. Again, if you go back on my YouTube channel on previous videos, you will be able to see how much work I've done and everything that I've changed. So what I've done on the interior is I've put a whole brand new carpet in. This is something that you definitely need to do. The carpet I bought from Rock Auto. It is a sandstone carpet. Now there's a few variations of the tan colour that you can get, as far as I know, as long as it is sandstone to kind of like a saddle tan colour. That should be good enough. As I said, mine is I believe mine is a sandstone. I bought mine from Rock Auto. Rock Auto is a great place. I've bought many things from there. So I bought the carpet from Rock Auto, all new seals, new rubbers. I bought a new seal for my trunk to go around the back there. All of the interior plastics you can see in there, yeah, they're all tan. I've got my PMD seats are done, look, you can see there. I've just covered them up for now. Everything inside you can see it is all tan. So what you need to do to actually get the inside so that it's exactly like a Night Rider replica car is you need to take everything out and then spray it tan. Okay, the color that I've actually sprayed it, I can't remember the exact color, but I took all of my panels to the garage, to a local place, a local paint shop, and what I did is I gave them, and this is a little trick, because I don't again, I don't really see many people talking about this. There's many people out there telling you to use different colors, you know, this color, that color. You are pretty much governed by this color for your interior, okay? If you want everything to match. The reason is because you can't really change the color of this. These are tan seat belts. Yeah, you of course need the tan color seat belts if you want to make everything look the same, and just keep everything the same color. Because although in Night Rider I know he didn't have seat belts, of course if you want to use your car on public roads you need seat belts. So the next best thing is to make sure you get tan seat belts. There's nothing worse. I've seen some replicas out there that have got blue or grey seat belts. It really spoils the interior. All I'd say to you is please don't try and save a little bit of money by using your same seat belts that are a different color. Seriously, if you get tan, it will look so much nicer. What I did at the paint shop is I gave them this and said match that as best you can. So what he did is he mixed up some paint and he got the best color he could to match that color. Okay, he put it into his computer. And that's really the best piece of advice that I can give you, because you're governed by this. You cannot really spray this, especially, well, I mean, you can if you really want to, but it's a pain in the backside. You don't want to have to mess around with this and start like trying to spray this, and then you're going to run into all kinds of issues. Okay, it's just not worth it. So my advice is leave these, as long as they're in good condition. Obviously if they're not, you may have to spray them, but if you can get some seat belts, this is saddle tan, I believe, this is saddle tan. So if you try to match your entire interior with your seat belts, you're going to be good to go, because you can't really change the color, especially if you're of these belts as well. You know, you definitely can't spray your belts. So you want your interior to match those belts the best you can, yeah? And then everything else will match. Even the door panels, okay? Because this is like a saddle tan color. So if you look at the door panels, then this is actually almost an identical color to the belts and my carpet, yeah? So it all matches, yeah? That's another thing I would say. That's like a little trick. Make sure you do that. So moving on, the whole interior has to be sprayed a different color. It all has to be tan, yeah? So that's all going to match then. So if you look at my headliner, all of this, yeah, this is actually done in like a foam. This is a foam material that I bought off eBay. I've got my PMD sandstone seats. I've got all of my carpet. I've got all of my panels. Everything at the back there, it all blends in nicely. And that's what you need to do. Now, the cost of all of this is thousands. The carpet was like £300 or £400. The door panels were hundreds. Now, one of the biggest costs that I found that no one really talks about is the actual import duties. Now, if you live in the UK, you're going to have to pay import duties on everything that you get from America. You can't order a lot of this stuff from anywhere in Europe. It's only from America. So if you live in America, in the States, you're going to save a lot of money. If you live anywhere else in Europe or in the UK, you're going to have to generally, at the moment anyway, it may change in the future, in the near future, but you're going to have to pay import duties for other things that you buy. And that really does hike the price of everything. So that is just the tan interior. So you've got your door panels, you've got your carpet, you've got all your seat belts, Yeah, you've got your tan material on the headliner. You've got your tan material on the seats, yeah, because these have all been recovered. So there's a lot there. There's a lot there that you need to do, and that's not including any of the rubbers you need to change. Yeah, you need to change all the seals, the rubbers around the door and stuff like that. Again, depending on the base model that you've got. If you can get a base model that's in good condition, really good condition, you may not have to change all of the rubbers. So it isn't always black and white. You're gonna have to just buy a car, see what it's like when you start pulling things apart, and then make the decision based on that. So moving on, if you can get all of the interior done, all of the tan interior, okay, you're doing well. What you need to also think about is you need the 82 center console. So you need this big panel here, yeah, with that actual armrest. Yeah, now mine is a manual gearbox, so if you've got an auto, there's not really much difference. I've just had to buy a gear gaiter, yeah, a shift gaiter, a leather gaiter for mine. There really isn't much difference. So mine is manual, and yes, the actual Knight Rider Replica was an automatic, but you know what? You can't really, no one has ever really been able to tell this is a manual gearbox from a distance, because I've even got the proper Knight Rider shifter knob section at the top there, so it really is hard to see from a distance. So you need the Knight Rider center console, yeah, and don't forget, I think I may have missed this. When you get these door panels, you need your rails as well, and the seals to go in there and on the outside. And I purchased new door handles as well. So new door handles, new locks, new rails, new door panels. Okay, these are brand new. Not brand new. These are second hand, but I've had to clean all these up. This section here is from a 1982. This is a 1982 door handle area as well, and these kind of little things here are brand new. So you can see a lot of work has gone in to just the interior. Yeah. Now this is not including any of the electronics. I'm going to cover the electronics now, and then I'm going to tell you what I've spent on my car, how much I've actually spent so far, and what things have cost me. So the electronics. At the moment, I've got the proper Knight Rider dashboard there. Okay, I'll give you a closer look so you can see in there. Okay, so I've got that. Now, when I purchased this car, the dashboard was already in the car. It was already in, but as I said, the car was a mess. It was an absolute mess, and I've had to pretty much gut everything. So that was the only bonus, is that I had the Knight Rider dashboards. I didn't have the lower console. I didn't have the lower Knight Rider console either. I had an upper console. There was an upper computer section at the top, but that was a bit of a mess. That was a bit of a dog. So that was a complete mess. So I've had to get rid of that, and I've had to buy a brand new one. So I've now got the proper Knight Rider Season 2, Season 1 and 2, Knight Rider Replica lower computer console there. And I've got the upper console, which I've made as well. And that is in the process of being done. That's almost complete. These Knight Rider dashboards are not cheap at all. They are very, very expensive. My lower console, as you can see there, you need the lower console, then you need to buy all of the different buttons, then your window switches, then the rocker switches, then the space mat, the coding keypad, all of that. That whole section that you see just there, all of that has cost me about £1,000. That is just the small section that you can see that lights up. The main dashboard itself, I'm actually going to be buying one towards the end of the year. If you were to buy just that section at the top with brand new electronics and brand new TV screens and all that, you're looking at, and by the time you pay someone to actually install it, you're looking at around £4,000 to £5,000. Okay, the upper console, the upper area, that has cost me in total, by the time I pay the guy, because somebody else is doing the electronics for me, by the time I've paid everything, the upper console would have cost me about £800 to £900. Okay, so just the actual Knight Rider electronics, what you see here, and this is not including any labour, just the electronics, you're looking at about £7,000, £6,000 to £7,000. Okay, if you want someone to actually fit it as well, that could be labour. Yeah. So I'm just going to quickly tell you what I've spent on the car so far. So as I said at the start of the video, I purchased this car in May 2019. I purchased this car for £15,000 and I paid too much for it. I will be completely honest. So I'm going to be transparent. I've got nothing to hide. I bought this car for £15,000. It's a lot of money, I know. Many people will think, why on earth did I spend that much money on this car when I've had to do all of this work to it? Well, the simple reason is I didn't want to look around for another 2 years to actually buy one of these cars. I really didn't want to spend months and months and months more to actually find one to then convert it, because time is not always on your side. Sometimes when you've got an idea and you've got the money to do something, sometimes you just have to do it. So I didn't want to run the risk of not buying it and then I never actually did one of these cars, because you know what it's like, life gets in the way, things change, things happen, stuff like that. Not only that, but the actual engine, this is one of the main reasons why I bought the car. The actual engine is a 5-litre V8 engine. Yeah, the 5-litre V8. Although it's a manual gearbox, I don't care about it being manual. I was more interested in the fact that it had the proper V8 engine. Yeah, the actual one from the TV show, from the Knight Rider TV show, I believe is a 5.7 automatic. But you know what? I'm not bothered about the 0.7 of a litre as long as it's got the V8, which it has. Yeah, the 5-litre V8 engine. And that is one of the main reasons why I wanted the car, because I thought if I'm going to do a Knight Rider car, I don't want to buy the V6 model, because they do a V6 model and I really didn't want the V6. I wanted the proper good beefy V8, and that's what I did. So when this come along, I thought, you know what, yes, it needs work. Yes, the conversion to Knight Rider is not very good. The bodywork needed a lot of attention, but it did have the V8 engine, and also it did have the Knight Rider dashboard. It was already had the front scanner. So it had the front scanner, it had the Knight Rider dashboard, it had the upper console, and it had the blackout at the back, which wasn't very good, I will be honest. And it was already sprayed black. So yes, it wasn't a brilliant deal. I bought the car for too much money. I know that. But sometimes you just need to take a little bit of a gamble, and I did, and it's paid off because the car has turned out beautiful, and it's not even finished yet. So that is what it cost me. Now, the actual work that I've done to it over the last 14 months, I'm going to tell you what it's cost me so far, and I've still got more money to spend. I bought the car for £15,000. In the last 14 months, I would say I've spent an additional, I would say, £11,000. So I'm at about £25,000 to £26,000 at the moment. So that's what I've spent on this car. Okay, and it is almost complete. However, when I buy my new dashboards, the dashboard's going to cost me a fair bit of money. Yeah, that's only going to be that section I need to buy. but at the same time, I am going to sell this dashboard, so I will be able to claw some money back. The other thing I do need to do, and I'm going to be ending this video very, very soon, but I just want to cover everything, is the wheels on this are only 14-inch. You really do need 15-inch wheels with the TurboCast if you want the proper screen accurate replica wheels. And I honestly do think the 15s look better anyway. So that isn't something that where you can just be, some people would say that you're just being anal, okay, because you want the 15s. The 15s do look slightly better than the 14s because they take up more space in the wheel arch. They just look a lot nicer. There really isn't a lot of difference. A lot of people probably can't even tell. In fact, I know a lot of people can't even tell. But I want the 15s just so I can say that it's a, it's a replica. It's the exact wheels from the Night Rider car itself. So yeah, so all in all, at the moment I'm at about £26,000 into my project. And how much have I got left to spend? I would say about £6,000 or £7,000 left. I've got my dashboard and there's a few other things that I want to do as well. However, that doesn't also include my engine bay. My engine bay is going to be another section. I'll make another video about that, maybe in like a year's time or something. But I'm going to be making a video. I'm going to be doing some work on the engine bay where I'm going to get all different Night Rider plates and everything made up for the car and have LEDs and stuff in there. I'm really going to make the engine bay look really, really super cool. So that's going to obviously be more expense. So if I had to give you an overall figure, what it's going to cost you to build one of these cars from scratch, I would say, to be on the safe side, and bear in mind, it may be slightly different for people that do more of the work themselves. So if you can do all of the labor yourself, you will obviously save more money, okay? If you can't do any labor yourself and you have to get other people to do everything, it's going to cost you probably 2-3 times as much. So somewhere in the middle, if you can do what I've done, I can do all of the work inside, like the interior. I can do some electrics. I can do a lot of it, but there's things like the paint work I can't do. I can't do some of the very complex electronics. I can't do that. I can't spray the car, and I can't do the mechanical repairs on the car, but I can do everything else. So we've all obviously got different skills. If I had to say how much you should budget for one of these cars for a project start to finish, in UK pounds, I would say if you could give yourself £25,000-30,000, okay, that would be a very, very good start. In fact, I would say £30,000 because you've got to think about buying the car as well. The car might cost you £12,000, £10,000 if you're here in the UK. If you're in America, I know a lot of these Pontiac Firebirds you can pick up a lot cheaper. Yeah, so you might be able to buy one for $3,000, $5,000-6,000, something like that. So here in the UK, it will cost you more because you've got to pay import duties on everything that you basically buy. So this is why you don't get that many here in the UK. There are some in the UK, but it's just a lot easier if you're in America because, as I said to you earlier in the video, you don't have to pay import duties and import taxes on everything that you order. It's just a complete nightmare. It's cost me almost double just in parts because of the import duties, but that's just part and parcel of doing one of these conversions. You can't get away from it. It's one of those things. So if you set yourself a budget of say £30,000, you should be able to buy a pretty good Trans Am for that, or a Pontiac Firebird. Remember what I said, try to get a Firebird and not a Trans Am, and give yourself about £30,000 to do the conversion. Time wise, I'd give yourself a couple of years. Yeah, again, it's impossible for me to give you an exact time frame because we're all different. You may be very, very good. You may have a lot more time on your hands to do it, and you may have all the money sat there. Some people have half of the money when they start the project, and they need to make the money as they progress. And that's kind of what I've done. So I hope this is helped. I hope this video has helped. It's gone on for a long time, but there's a lot of information to explain and a lot of things to cover. So everything I've given you in this video is what I've learned over the last 14 months. Well, not all of it, but a lot of it, like with costs and things to learn, things that you need to, or things that I've learned along the way, and how much things are going to cost and time and stuff like that. But there's lots of things that I've not mentioned because I've just simply not got time. But I've tried to cover the main points. So if you want to build one of these cars, they're brilliant fun, absolutely brilliant fun. I've always wanted to do one of these, but just bear in mind, it's not going to be cheap. It's going to cost you a lot of money. There's going to be a fair bit of stress involved, a lot of time, but it is good fun. Okay, it's something that you can be proud to look at. Like, I look at this now and I'm really pleased with it, how it's turned out. But it's something that you can do over a little bit of time. So don't let it stress you out, and just do it, as you can. So yeah, hope this has helped, and I hope this is given you a little bit of an idea onto how much it's going to cost you and what you can expect to pay when you do these conversions. So yeah, if you like the video, I'll really appreciate it if you can just give me a like, and if you want to subscribe, that'll be brilliant as well. I've got lots more videos coming up. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Take care.